Flood insurance cost in 2025 is changing. And if you live in flood zone AE, there's a lot of things you need to know that can have a big impact on you. In fact, they could cost you hundreds or even thousands of dollars if you're not careful, like they did me more than a decade ago. So in today's video, we're going to talk about those changing things and what you need to know. Are your prices going up? Are they going down? How much are you going to pay? What can you do to control these costs? So let's get started. Before we do, make sure to share, subscribe, and like the channel below. Hi, I'm Chris, the flood insurance guru. More than a decade ago, I bought a house in a flood zone right here in flood zone AE. I was given the wrong flood zone. My insurance agent didn't know it could be changed. It cost me thousands of dollars and heartache, had a big impact on my property value. My mortgage literally almost crumbled within a matter of weeks as my premiums went from $300 to $3,000. So in today's video, my goal is to help you avoid the mistakes and the pitfalls I had to go through more than a decade ago. In fact, that's why I've been doing videos just like this one right here to help homeowners like yourself in flood zone AE. So let's talk about flood insurance costs in 2025 when it comes to flood zone AE. What you need to know, there's a lot of things changing. Let's start with these FEMA map updates. FEMA map are changing across the entire country. On average, they change about once every 5 years in different areas. So what does this mean for you if you currently own a property in flood zone AE? Well, it means you could be moved from flood zone AE to an X. It means you could go and just sit there and be the same. A lot of times they are. Now, if you are moved from an AE to an X, what's going to be the impact on your premiums? Look, with the National Flood Insurance Program, they no longer use flood zones to determine rates, but what they do use are replacement costs on a property, like you see right here behind me, and the actual cost to rebuild. They look at things like distance to water, the type of flooding, elevation of your property, all these different things. So while the actual flood zone may not have much of an impact, things like your flood risk score, and you can find that in the description of this video by jumping over to the Flood Insurance Guru and getting that in less than 60 seconds. That's going to help you understand as these flood maps changes what your real risk is. Because look, we see areas like flood zone X where flood insurance is not typically required, even have higher premiums sometimes than properties in flood zone AE. Because remember, these maps are used more from a regulatory standpoint. So that's how those maps are changing. Now let's talk a little bit about Risk Rating 2.0. This is the FEMA program that's been rolled out in 2021. And are you going to see rates go up? Are you going to see them go down? It depends on where you're located. Because if you've had one of those older policies pre-2021, you may still be seeing premiums increase up to 18% per year until it gets to that full risk premium. Take a look at your statutory discount on your National Flood Insurance Program policy, and it's going to give you an idea of where those premiums are headed over the next few years. It could be that it's going down. We have seen that a lot. It could be that it's going up. Now, on the private side, you're not going to see this because on the private side, they're going to hit you with that full premium from year to year. Especially here in 2025, as we've seen things like California happening, widespread flooding that is now happening as a result of wildfires. You're seeing a lot of these things happen across the country. Insurance costs are skyrocketing. As a result, you're seeing a lot of private flood insurance really increase rates. We've seen a lot of non-renewals. We've seen on average that some of these rates going up more than 40%. So here in 2025, you want to pay attention to that. Even if you have a current policy, you could take a look and potentially see, hey, I may be able to actually save some money by switching this midterm. Because there are certain stipulations that you can switch a policy midterm. Now, with the National Flood Insurance Program, usually it's because of a flood zone change or a loan's been paid off or property sold. There are some strict guidelines there, but some private companies will let you switch midterm. So it could be that you provide an option that has better coverage, that has better pricing for you, that you just want to make a switch. So you can take a look at that as you look at this Risk Rating 2.0 continues to roll out. Then banks requirements in 2025. A lot of these banks are changing their guidelines. We're seeing banks now that are requiring flood insurance in areas that weren't required before because they're looking at flood risk score. Once again, you can get that by clicking in the description of this video. So as we go through all this in 2025, what can you expect to pay in 2025? Look, the national average we're seeing for properties that have coverage up to the $250,000 on the residential building and $100,000 in contents coverage, on average, pay about $1,200 a year. Does that mean you're going to pay $1,200 a year? No, you can pay less based on your flood risk score. You can pay more. It just depends here. But this is what you could be expecting to pay here in 2025 and beyond. So if you want to look at some different options, it's really simple. There are 3 simple steps. Step 1, fill out the form on our website to do a policy review. And I'll leave that here in the description of this video for you. The second step is review that proposal, and step 3, finalize the policy. That's it. It's that simple to reviewing your policy to make sure you're not overpaying in 2025, and that you've got the coverage you need so when a claim does happen, you're covered the way you need to be covered. Because look, flood insurance claims can be some of the worst claims you ever go through because they're usually a natural disaster that is catastrophic. I'm Chris, the flood insurance guru, and I look forward to speaking to you in our next video. Now, if you live in Flood Zone 80, make sure to watch our playlist dedicated just for you here. Thank you.